Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Silicon Dreams 1550 AM. I'm Sharlaine from Orbis 86, your host. And today we have with us an exciting guest, Matthew Liu, partner and CSO at SynFutures, bringing extensive experience from Deutsche Bank and General Motors. He has also played a key role in establishing a major blockchain based trade finance platform at Ant Financial. Welcome, Matthew, to the show. I hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Yes, I am. Had a very
Awesome.
nice day today. Hope you also have a good day today.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it's even better now. So, with that, I'm going to start and ask you about your journey. How did you get into what you're doing right now? And where did you start? And, how's it going for you at the moment?
Absolutely, no problem.
Yeah. So yeah, do tell us about your journey, from with your background in trading and investments, and how has your experience in traditional finance industry shaped your perspective on the potential of DeFi and blockchain technology? If you could tell us a bit about that.
Of course, of course. Um, First, thanks a lot. We have been building SynFutures for 3 years, and we always love to be on this prestige podcast, such as the Silicon Dream. And for my journey, I started more than 10 years ago as a trader in the Wall Street Bank, and then moved around to help manage money for global large corporates as well as fintech companies. Then I moved into the consortium blockchain or permissionless blockchain business because I really liked the technology. And later on, 3 years ago, I got back with my friends Rachel, and we decided to start SynFutures because this is the true blockchain application for the finance industry. So along the way, I would say I have experienced the franchise value based bank trading business. I have done like how to manage money across the globe in terms of the FX exposure, in terms of the interest risk, both in terms of spot risk as well as derivatives. And then I've also kind of tried different POCs of using the blockchain technology to facilitate global trades with not only large corporates, but also the SMEs. And all of this become very helpful when we started SynFutures because it offered me different perspectives of the problems that all the previous institutions fail to resolve, which is a transparent and easily accessible financial infrastructure. And so the first time I read about DeFi, and for example, there was like a Uniswap at the time, I fell in love with this thing. I'm like, oh, this is the perfect model for building something that's transparent and accessible and much more efficient.
Right.
That actually made me to make the decision to quit my previous job and start this together with my other two co-founders. It's been a I would say a thrilling journey because everything in crypto moves 4 to 5 times faster.
Absolutely.
So if you think about 3 years time, that's like more than 10 years already.
Yes.
If I were still working in TradFi. So yeah, that's how my past experience would get related to what I'm building now.
That's awesome. It sounds really exciting. And yeah, I think with crypto, you always have to be on top of things. Like every minute there's something changes. Speaking about changes and challenges, how did your roles kind of prepare you for the challenges and opportunities in the decentralized finance space? Like, can you tell us a little bit about, the challenges that you faced, the obstacles that came along your way, and how did you tackle them? Some of the most significant ones.
Sure. I would say in the last 3 years, we had many challenges, and like many of the not just like an entrepreneur, but entrepreneur in crypto would face again 4 to 5 times more challenges. Many like projects or other entrepreneurs didn't survive these challenges. And we have always been, we see a little bit lucky, but also a little bit more skillful and experienced in handling some of these situations. I give you a couple examples. Yeah. For the first one, Terra. Yeah. When Terra was like kind of no-brainer for many people to consider as safe deposit yielding 19.5% like rate, we didn't put a dime in it. Because in our eyes, where we see these stable coins are not just they're not dollars, but they're bonds, right? If with my TradFi background, these are just bonds with credit risk. And if some bond is yielding 19.5%, those are like junk bonds in the TradFi world, and definitely should not trade at par at $1 face value, right? And that's something that people didn't understand in the crypto world before Terra collapsed. And then we've seen very good projects didn't survive this because they put most of the project money in Terra looking for that yield. But we have a very conservative and well-managed treasury policy to make sure we preserve the capital for the long-term development, for the dev team to be focused in developing our product rather than we speculate. No. And the other example I can give is FTX. So I have to admit, we had money in FTX. Yeah. So the day when there was some market rumor that they may suspend like a withdrawal, we the three co-founder, we came together and had a quick discussion. All three of us used to like the service of FTX, and we trade a lot on it ourselves personally. But the decision is, hey, let's take the company money out. Okay, we're not gonna gamble on that. So at the end of the day, we took all the money out. We didn't lose a dime again, and we have seen quite a couple of good projects didn't survive that. And these two are some of the examples around how we are a little bit luckier or more experienced in managing the treasury fund to make sure we can steer this little boat through all these storms in the crypto world.
Right.
And of course, there are many more. But yeah, maybe that's gonna take another hour. I'll stop here.
Yeah, no, but I think what you spoke about is, it's just, I love that you guys have a great team, the team of like the co-founders especially, to just come together at this, time of crisis where you're already worried. In general, you're worried about what's happening in crypto, and then to, kind of make a decision, and all these things can help, just at that point in time, it's like crisis management at that point, right? So, I think that's very, very important. And yeah, as every challenge comes in, you yourself find it new, but at the same time, when you tackle it, you become more skillful. So I don't want to say it's absolute luck, but it's also skill based, because you, at the end of the day, it's you making the decision. And yeah, that being said, I want yeah so
Thanks.
yeah, so moving on to cross-border trade finance, right? So could you share insights into your role in establishing one of the world's largest consortium blockchain-based cross-border trade finance platforms?
Sure. In my previous role at Ant Financial, that was my I would say my thing. We established like a consortium with almost 20 banks around the world. So these include, for example, HSBC, Standard Chartered, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, DBS, etc., to facilitate the some cross-border SME trade finance. We started with a very simple idea that the SMEs, especially doing cross-border trades, needs better financing, because it's like the B2B transactions are mostly large volume and poorly financed, because at least one side of the trade lies in a different country. So some of the documents, the verifications, were unable to be verified or I would say accepted on both sides. And this is where we thought, blockchain technology would come into play and really build something to have a consensus across different parties to make sure that eventually the SMEs are better financed. So that took me 2 years to build and run at scale. And so at the end of the 2 years, that was a pretty stable business. So when I left to build SynFutures, I think that was a stable business already. Yeah, and honestly, personally, I learned a lot of technology stuff for on blockchain in that business that made me realize, hey, I should do more. I should do more. I would say genuine or purer blockchain applications. That of course, today you talk about DeFi. There's not much like real world application there, I would say. Like not really making today like a real world impact, but in a more idealistic format that I believe has even more liveliness. So that I would say had that cross chain that cross border blockchain trade finance business made helped me make my way into DeFi later.
That's awesome. I mean, kudos to that, right? I mean, and considering your, unique vantage point, having worked in both traditional finance and innovative blockchain platforms, right? How do you foresee blockchain technologies impacting, other than traditional industries beyond finance? How do you see the larger impact of just blockchain technologies?
Yeah, I think every year I saw very big changes. Like back in 2018, when I talked like blockchain to like my business partners, other like at the time like large institutions, financial institutions, and the trading institutions, a lot of them were a little bit resistant, and I understand where they came from because, for example, if you're talking about financial institutions, they're mostly franchise value, right? They receive the franchise from the central banks to manage part of the central bank's balance sheet. So that's why if you tell them, hey, your record doesn't count, it's like a record on the blockchain that counts, and if there's a discrepancy, the blockchain data will prevail. That touches their fundamental franchise value, right? It's like it's really hard for them to accept. Yeah. But later on, I think as the wealth effect on blockchain start to snowball, many people on individual levels start to accept blockchain and Bitcoin and all the other like tokens.
Yeah.
And that was the where I saw it was the major factor to change these institutions' opinions, because these I would say decision makers or the people behind the institutions, the people themselves accepted blockchain and Bitcoin and tokens. They push these institutions to change.
True.
If without this bottom-up grassroots approach, then I think it would be very hard for the institutions to adopt blockchain technology. Even today, it's the same. Yeah, like for example, we had SEC approving Bitcoin ETF, right? So why? If you take a step back, why? The SEC loves Bitcoin ETF? They probably don't, right? If you look at what Gary Gensler said, that he doesn't at all.
Yeah.
And then are these institutions like big fan of blockchain or Bitcoin? No, because years ago they're like, no, we're not going to do anything with Bitcoin, with blockchain, but only because, again, so many stakeholders in these institutions start to yell for, start to shout out for blockchain and Bitcoin, and only because so many of their clients they're like, hey, do you offer like investment in Bitcoin. If you don't, then I'm gonna buy Bitcoin myself. You're gonna lose my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's all these individual level um, push start to make change in the mindset of these institutions, start to make change in the mindset of the regulators, and that got us the approval of Bitcoin ETF. Right. Again, I think that adoption across different industries would be driven by these individuals.
Mm-hmm.
This again, I think, is a very democratic thing.
Yeah.
It's grassroots, and is what I like about blockchain.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's a slow adoption. I mean, now it's picking up for sure. But I think even where I come from, in India, we have this negative connotation to what blockchain or what Web3 or what crypto really is. But I think the only way to bridge that gap is through, education, blockchain education. And that being said, and that's how the companies also, once an individual pushes it, then the company will, learn to kind of get that into their business model as well. So that being said, in the context of your role in fostering decentralized finance, how do you believe we can enhance educational efforts to bridge the knowledge gap and promote a wider understanding of blockchain and DeFi concepts?
Sure. Um, my view might be a little bit of extreme. I would say the best education
Mm-hmm.
is to have a try. Yeah. It's like in science, you need experiment,
Yeah.
right? There are always these theories and articles you can read and try to formulate everything in your mind, but
Mm-hmm.
eventually, when you see the test, you'll be convinced. Now, that's exactly the same when we talk about blockchain technology, when we talk about DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are a lot of good educational material already. For the record, SynFutures, we also run an academy
Okay.
with like all these 101 and baby steps, how you can come into DeFi. I think these are all very high quality articles. But eventually, it's only that moment when a user start to try this and feel like, wow, this is different, and that's that tipping point to change the user or the stakeholder's mind.
That is
And
true.
that is why I think the best way to educate will be to and that well there's two sides of that. Two steps, right? So for one is lower the entry barrier of a normal user to come into DeFi world, or to buy a Bitcoin. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you lower the entry barrier enough, then you get more people to try.
Yeah.
Some people like it, some people doesn't like it. It's okay. You can't force everyone to like it.
True.
But it's like the first time we had telephones, first time we had computer.
Yeah.
When people try it, then some people start to like it and then lead the new trend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that, but of course, blockchain, crypto, I would say, are born a little bit speculative
Mm-hmm.
by nature, right?
Yeah.
And that's something, I think for newcomers, they will also need to be a little aware of, or a little bit better informed.
Yeah.
There's the speculative nature,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually this is a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even that speculation, I would say, has both sides, right? I mean, usually people only see the side of the risk, but on the other side, this speculative nature and self-functional
Mm-hmm.
capital markets per se facilitate a lot of innovations. It's like some innovations are anyway like a fake, or they didn't work out. It's okay. People didn't believe Elon Musk before,
Yeah.
but lucky he got people to sponsor him. Well, he has money, but he also got people to sponsor him.
Yeah.
And the same thing in blockchain, right? So some projects, some ideas
Mm-hmm.
came into reality and really revolutionized the infrastructure of the financial services, while other like tests or other trials, other projects failed.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So long as there's continued speculation around, hey, would that be a successful venture? Would this be like a very innovative way that we're going to change the world?
Yeah.
So long as there's like money supporting this,
Yes.
and a way for the investor to monetize through these, you call it speculation or capital markets. I think that's a very healthy state that, I would personally think, the new user should try and experience.
That's true. I mean, for all our listeners, the best way to go about into Web3 in general is to try it yourself. And of course, DYOR, as we always say, because of its speculative nature. And, that being said, I think in general, I think in life, it's just better to try something and experience it before you kind of, judge something just based off what you read or what you see. I think that's very important, because right now when you just open up, you usually find all, like I said, there's always a negative connotation to what Web3 really is, but then we aren't really seeing the better side of things, the advantages, and what it's really doing. The same with, when people say, oh, AI is going to take over the world, but it's really helping us, so that's a topic for today. But yeah, in the
Good
same,
point.
yeah, with Web3 is what we have to kind of, know about it, try it yourself, and then you would know. And with that, I'm gonna, ask you one last question for all our young aspiring minds who are going to be listening to this podcast. What advice would you give aspiring professionals, or the younger crowd looking to enter the Web3 space, especially those with a background in finance and international business, and based off your journey from a trader to a partner at SynFutures?
Sure. Number one, I think this world, this Web3 world, is full of young people, and that tells a good story itself about how much liveliness and enthusiasm that are embedded in this industry. Yeah, and I would further encourage more young people to join. It's if we think about the level of creativeness in a like a human like life, that usually they're at the maximum level in people's 20s, 30s. Yeah, sorry, I'm in my 30s, unfortunately. But for someone who look to start in this industry, I would give 3 recommendations. Yeah, first one is, if you come with a finance or like international trade background, this is very good background. This is gonna be very helpful for you to have your view on what's happening every day in crypto, because there are way many things happening every day in crypto. Many people don't have that framework for analysis, but I do believe for people with a finance or international trade background, it's easier for them to understand. Yeah, so understand, that is an advantage. That's one. Second point is, try to forget about your previous understanding and make a, I would say, courageous move. For example, when I started to build in DeFi, I was in actually just TradFi, then consortium based, like blockchain business. Normally, people would say, oh, okay, maybe half a step further is like a blockchain payment that also with on and off ramp type of business, or I continue building a consortium based blockchain for like large corporations. But at the time, I was like, okay, maybe this is the new piece of land that a human discovered after the after the 1500 exploration by Columbus and the other people. Finally, now there's a new continent on this planet. It's called the Web3 world. It's a parallel universe that's completely new. So the second advice is try something new in this parallel universe. Forget about what you do today, what's in your bank account, and try something new. It's a new continent. I mean, we are living in this age where we found another new continent. Think about it. That hasn't happened in the last 500 years. Now, finally, yeah. So try something new. Be brave. Take a big step. Yeah. The third advice is, look for good partners, because eventually, to build something in Web3, it's not a one-man job. And look around your friends, your colleagues, your classmates. and find good people to partner with.
Absolutely.
This would have a very big multiplier effect in your future success in Web3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you for that. I mean, yeah, you have to find, I mean, I love the third advice because and while you also find good partners, I think just building that community in Web3, which I actually love, what I love about Web3 is that it's just the community is so, inclusive and there's so much today in network and, there's so much to build there. So, yeah, with that, I think we're gonna end the interview. Thank you so much, Matthew, for sharing your, valuable insights into the intersection of traditional finance and blockchain innovation. And as we wrap up this eye opening journey with Matthew, remember the future is forged at the crossroads of tradition and innovation. So join us next time on the Silicon Dreams as we continue to explore the ever evolving landscape of technology and its profound impact on our future. Thank you so much, Matthew.